to beat every single team to make it to Worlds.
And this is our final chance at making Worlds.
Then if we fail, it's gonna be a really long off season. We have like younger players. We're like hungry to win.
Just because we've been to Worlds doesn't mean that we don't want it more. We've been there, we know how it feels, and we want that same feeling.
It means so much more to us, and hopefully that will push us over the edge.
It's definitely a hard road ahead, but we aren't really afraid. We're here to show that we can play.
Welcome back to our studios in Los Angeles, California. We crowned our summer split champions last weekend, but North America's third seed to the World Championship is still up for grabs. There you got to look at FlyQuest backstage ahead of their match in high spirits to start the long gauntlet ahead, and today they're going to face Shrimp and Altec, looking to redeem themselves after a loss in Boston. Hello, everyone. I'm James Patterson. While we tried to leave him on the East Coast, Mark Zimmerman found his way back into the LCS studio somehow alongside Joshua Jat-Leesman. Gentlemen.
Yeah. I can actually buy plane tickets online. That is not enough of a deterrent to keep me in Boston if anyone's trying to leave me stranded.
You remember your hometown.
Like,
we thought
take
maybe.
Mark, leave Mark. It was both, right? Take Mark and then leave him. But he didn't get the message.
That's really what it was. Well, as we turn our attention to the battle for North America's last World spot, let's go ahead and take a look at the format for the regional qualifiers. Things kick off with FlyQuest versus Team Dignitas. The winner of that advances to the next round to face off against Counterlogic Gaming, and Cloud9 await the last squad standing on Sunday, with the victors of that final match earning North America's spot in the World's play-in stage. It's important to note that this is not the same thing as making it into the group stage as in years past, but the opportunity is still there to fight for one of those 4 remaining spots through the play-in brackets.
Yeah, so the group stage, so to speak, now has the 12 teams that are qualified into it instead of the 16. And then we're going to have these new teams at World. So you can see right there all of the different regions that are represented at the World Championship. The number of overall teams has expanded a fair bit.
Yeah, so these are the teams that have already qualified into the group stage itself. Of course, you've got three Korean teams because they won Worlds last year, and then the top 2 seeds from the rest of the major regions.
Right, so of course you're going to have a pretty exciting playing stage with the fact that there's so many of these major region teams playing. And the winner of the gauntlet will not only face the number 3 seeds for the other 3 regions, but face teams that we saw at MSI, like LJLs, Rampage, OPLs, Direwolves, and Lion Gaming from the LLN.
Yeah, so this is essentially the first stage of Worlds, where you can see with the TBD being the number 3 from Europe and the number 3 from North America. So there is a scenario in which one of these teams would have to play someone like WE to make it to the group stage, but that's actually fairly unlikely.
Right, that's the notables, right? WE from the LPL here in the play-in stage. And then, of course, Gambit, as Mark said, is back. They've made it back into the international market here. We'll see how they do come World's time. Now, those are the stakes. Now, let's take a look at the 2 teams that are going to be hitting the rift today. It's FlyQuest versus Team Dignitas, and Dig are looking to pick themselves up after a crushing 0-3 defeat at the hands of CLG at the TD Garden.
Yeah, and you're kind of hoping that it's just a little bit of a bad series out of them. You know, some teams you just have a bad day, and there were a couple things that went wrong. Notably, Shrimp was having a really hard time in the jungle. He's always been probably the most volatile player on that team, and he did not have a good series, as well as the fact that their bot lane, which was supposed to be one of the big advantages against CLG, actually didn't get that any leads, and Aftermoon was able to run around the map and make plays.
Yeah, and you wonder how some of these players can stand up to the pressure. I think the highest pressure game was that 3rd place match in front of 15,000 screaming fans at the Boston Garden. I mean, looking at Keen, his CS numbers from the regular season to playoffs, a massive drop-off as the pressure has increased and the competition has increased. A negative 16.9 CSD at 15 is really hard to then come back from. But what's interesting is Dig was still playing pretty well, aside from that 3rd place match they played against CLG. So you wonder if now that they're kind of back on familiar turf, so to speak, they'll be playing in the battle theater. There's not as much noise. There's not all the build-up and the travel. So maybe they can get back to that form they had in the quarterfinals and semifinals.
And to be fair to Keen, he played Jensen, Bjergsen, and Huhi, which were the 3 all-pro mid laners. Right. So he had some tough competition.
Had his work cut out for him. Yeah. He's also been known to be a streaky player at times. So sometimes acting really hot and then sometimes kind of falling off the map. Rather, they faced FlyQuest today, who we haven't seen in over a month, and they barely earned their spot in the gauntlet, going 2-0 here in Week 9.
And it wasn't very impressive victories in those 2-0s. It was against the two teams who ended up playing in the promotion relegation tournament in Phoenix One and Team Liquid. So it wasn't like they came flying in with some good momentum. It was very tough matches against the two worst teams in the league.
Yeah, but glass half full. The last time High finished a split in 7th place was 2015 summer, and they actually did run through the regional qualifier to make it all the way to Worlds. It's unlikely that it happens again, but if anyone could do it, the High Elimination Balls have been on this road before.
Absolutely. It's happened before. It can happen again, and it all starts today. Today, of course, is only round 1 of the Gauntlet. We want to know who you think will take the whole enchilada. So tweet to @LOL Esports which team you think, or rather that you want to represent North America at Worlds, and why. We'll review some of your tweets as the weekend shakes out. Nothing left for us to do, though, now, except for to hand it over to the casters to kick off the games. Before we get there, Adrian's got something to say about Dignitas' 3rd place performance and the expectations for the Gauntlet.
We had a really disappointing performance in Boston because I think it was like a new experience for most of our players. Like Keen and Shrimp, they've never been on a big stage, so I guess nerves kind of got to them, and like we didn't play how we usually play. So I think we'll play even better in Gauntlet because we're not playing in a huge crowd, and that doesn't mean that like it's going to be easy, but like I feel like we'll be ourselves and we'll be able to perform better for everyone, because like getting 3-0 was really disappointing for us, and hopefully we can show a stronger performance this time.
We'll see what they can do.